Travis Wayne Goodsell. I was startled awake this morning with my dream and rushed to get my computer up and running so that when I got back from my run, I'd be ready to go. And here I am. Joseph Smith history, verse 19. Emmanuel tells Joseph Smith that the future prophets of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints will all be corrupt. They draw near to Emmanuel with their lips, but their hearts are far from him. They teach for doctrines the commandments of Christians, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. Verse 40 is our Christ, Emmanuel. Did you follow the chain? Or did you just listen to the teacher tell you? Book of Mormon, the keystone of our religion, is in the learning of the Jews. It is not in the learning of the Christians. It is not in the learning of Islam. It is not in the learning of Buddha. It is not in the learning of Hindu, etc., etc., etc. It is the learning of the Jews. And so it is anti-Semitic to use any other interpretation. Thus, verse 19. I have warned you of the threat revealed by Joseph Smith of the day that shall burn as an oven, and the coming of your real Christ. Section 103, verse 16. Because apparently you don't study your scriptures. You say you do, you don't. And so Joseph Smith has been helping us to understand the duality nature of prophecy because of the multiple interpretations that are not the Jews. And so you have the Jews who wrote the scriptures who have an interpretation and thus a fulfillment. But you have others who have a different interpretation. And in order for them to have their interpretation come to pass, they have to fulfill it, because it's not going to be fulfilled naturally, like the Jewish prophecies. So, Joseph Smith, being taught this from the Book of Mormon, gives us section 45 of the Doctrine and Covenants. Hearken, O ye people of the Islamic Church. You didn't even bother to look? You thought it was real? Oh my God. It's his church. And what was the name of his church? In March 7th, 1831. Pop quiz, Mormons. What was the name of Joseph Smith's church in 1831? Church of Christ. But he didn't say the name. Jesus is angry. Jesus is offended. He's going to smite Joseph down. Anti-Semitic. To whom the kingdom has been given. And it's for the latter days, the millennium, Zion, where it will be the only place in peace, safety, and refuge. And I'll give you a hint, it's not Utah, because we're not in peace, we're not safe, we're not in refuge. If anything, we're being held in bondage. Oh, right, because Joseph Smith prophesied that we would. But Mormons don't believe. He's our founder, and they reject the stone upon which we were built. And so, hearken ye, and give ear to him who laid the foundation. Yep, verse 40. Did you read it? All you have to do is hearken to your actual Christ. Oops. And so what is this about? Let's scroll down to find it. Alright, verse 15. Wherefore, hearken, and I will reason with you, and I will speak unto you and prophesy. There you go. Here's a prophecy. Are you going to believe in dragons and beasts and flying horses from outer space and Jesus and frogs coming out of mouths of the false prophet? Or are they symbols, not actually what they represent? You know, like a sign. So yes, I am a little bit snarky this morning because of the seriousness of the dream. As I've been warning you of this, and you're not listening to me. And so yes, I'm pissed that you would rather die than save yourselves and your family. I don't like your tone, Travis. It'd be fine if you were being so mean. Truth is hard. Get over it. It just reveals you're guilty. And so, 17. I will show unto you how the day of redemption shall come, and also the restoration of the scattered Israel. So, Islam. Verily I say unto you that desolation shall come upon this generation as a thief in the night. And this people shall be destroyed and scattered among all nations. Islam? He's prophesying. It's not the Jews, but it is the Jews because of the false interpretation used by both Christianity and Islam. See, the Jewish Christ, he's not real. He's a symbolic character, and so he's given different names depending on the Jewish author who writes the various stories. Sometimes he's Jesus, sometimes he's Samson, sometimes he's Moses, sometimes he's Joseph, sometimes he's Abraham, sometimes he's Nephi, Alma, Mosiah. And so you, as a person studied in the learning of the Jews, which means you're not of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they don't teach you, or Jewish yourself, would know and understand it's about your Christ. Section 103, verse 16, the redemption of Israel. Mormons. And abomination of desolation. And so Christianity comes along 325 CE, Roman Emperor Constantine. Christianity did not exist before. It did not morph from Judaism. It was instantly created on 325 CE. All of the various bishops who were forced to attend or not get funding, and most likely not get protection from the Roman Empire, were told to give up their religious beliefs and become Christian. This is what Christianity lives in denial of, because after this event, the Pope of Rome, who was Linus in the supposed time where Peter died. Peter's not real. It's the Egyptian word for seer. And so, as he betrays Jesus, it's the seer of the latter days who betrays the Christ, Emmanuel. And yes, Mormons, I refer you to section 85, verse 8, not 7, because 7 is Emmanuel. And that takes you to Deuteronomy 18, not 15 through 19, because that's Emmanuel, starting in verse 20. And so the Christians, therefore, turned it all into literal history. Jesus is now going to come in the latter days for a second time, having failed the first time, and he's going to destroy the Jews and Islam and Mormons, because they're fake Christians. And then the Christians are going to live in peace and harmony as the United States is now under Jesus. Overthrow the deep state dams. Gotta pay attention to the news. The speaker is purposely trying to aggravate the war by having the aid package just for Jerusalem. He knows the squad won't like it, because the squad are terrorists in Congress. You know, like MAGA are terrorists in Congress. We've got extreme terrorism in our government now. Isn't that great? At the onset of World War II, we still had a number of KKK in Congress, and thus we didn't get into the war right away. It wasn't until America's financial interests were at stake that they then decided to get involved in the war. And so, Islam likewise are abominable as Christians are, and anti-Semitic too, because Muhammad, 600 CE, claims to be the fulfillment of Jewish prophecy as the man like Moses, Emmanuel. Oops, wrong name. Jesus is the wrong name, Muhammad is the wrong name. Emmanuel is the right name. Every Jew knows this. And yet, Muhammad claims he goes to the top of the mountain to receive the Quran directly from Allah. You know, like the 10 Commandments that Moses went to the top of Sinai for. And it's too bad none of them know Hebrew, because of the words in Hebrew giving you added information. But you'd have to actually find Emmanuel Mormons, because he's got the gifts of prophet, seer, revelator, and translator. Actual translator. Not let God prevail, which is the white supremacist meaning. And so, in Islam, as Muhammad then had his converts go village to village and murder women and children, and the men who didn't convert, and burn down their village, and then build the Dome of the Rock on Jerusalem's temple graveyard. Islam also confiscated Jesus of the Christians, which was confiscated from Jewish prophecy. Instead, Jesus of the Muslims is a Muslim. He tricked the Christians and the Jews. And so in the latter days, according to Islam, for Judgment Day, let me two. Yeah. One for two. Yeah. The destruction of the heathen will occur by Jesus. Tricked you, Christians, and now you're gonna die for your infidelity. And so, yes, Mormons and Jews too. And so on Fridays, the sun at noonday prayer for the 5 pillars of Islam adds those quotes from Muhammad of Judgment Day. And as you've been hearing the news, the translators have been telling the press that it's a day of rage. It's Judgment Day. And so I've warned you before when I found out about it that the Jewish calendar on 9/11 in the Jewish calendar is the 24th of November in our calendar. That's Black Friday, shopping day. Islam is furious with westernized culture of indulgence and entertainment and shopping, which is harming their children, addicting their children to Western culture. And instead of suing to ban the practice of shopping and entertainment, they're going to murder you. See, the Islamists in the Temple of Allah have the law of sacrifice, in which, under a penalty of death, your head gets chopped off. So in the news yesterday, sure enough, one of the Israeli female hostages had her head decapitated. Oh, but the children of Palestine, protect them. There are 50,000 Hamas wives who are pregnant. 50,000. And among those, there will be boys. And they'll be raised up and they'll join Hamas. 12 to 13 years from now. But protect the Palestinian children. Those Israelis are so mean. All the world is against Israel for what Hamas did. Netanyahu was even merciful in purposely delaying, giving Palestinians, if they're so claiming to be innocent, an opportunity to flee so that he can only fight Hamas. But nope, they stayed behind and put the children and women up front. Which is a cowardly act. And all the world is outraged. See, it's women and children that the Israelis are murdering. Get them! Exterminate them from the face of the earth. That's the whole trap. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints had previously been meeting with Islamic leaders, both in government and religion. I wonder what they're talking about. Oh, the Book of Mormon in the learning of the Jews. I'm sure that's what it was. Sure, it had nothing to do with paying them to cause this. You know, like Ukraine. And a major city yet to be determined in Russia. Mormons just get punked. And they live in denial, and they spread that denial. We're the true church. Jesus has his ultimate plan, and we just have to wait and see what happens. Well, we now see what happens. We know exactly what happened. The church betrayed you yet again. The church betrayed Ukraine to cause Gog and Magog's war. The church paid the Judas price to betray the Jews, to cause Armageddon. The church, your tithing money. Which you already know is a crime. You already know is a sin. It's priestcraft. Oh, but I don't want to read my scriptures because it's deep doctrine. Section 119. Surplus property, which is called tithing in verse 3. The beginning of tithing. Because then he says after that tithing, now you're supposed to pay an additional 1/10 of your interest annually. But the first batch of tithing is for the building of the temple, the laying of the foundation of the overthrow of the government by Jesus. The church isn't going to do it. Jesus is. I pulled it out. I brought it out of retirement. Just like me. I don't know where to put it. So yes, the Jesus Christ is going to destroy the world. Jews, Islam, and Christians. Everybody's Jesus is going to destroy different people. Just abominable. So, there you have it. So, the sign in the heavens. Confirmation. So, yeah, it's Black Friday. I'm surprised I didn't check it before, but nonetheless, here we go. It was tough getting the whole picture on the one screen because there's segmented events going on in the sign in the heavens this day. And if you're dumb enough to not understand the word sign in heaven, the meaning of sign in that context, and you think that all the scriptures say we're not supposed to seek after signs, Travis. Wrong meaning. The sign, in the context of signs in the heavens, has to do with astronomy. It is conjunctions, where you have celestial bodies together in a constellation. And the scriptures talk about not only conjunctions, but multiple connections of conjunctions for a single sign in the heavens, depending on the author and depending on what he's trying to prophesy about. But this is Islam and their understanding, because they're the ones who are going to attack. They're the ones who are going to cause Judgment Day. And already here in Utah, we have Palestinians and Jewish supporters protesting in Utah. And once Islam gives the word to all the world, the Palestinians are no longer going to be angrily protesting. They're going to get more violently protesting. And it won't be something the cops will be aware of. Because remember, thief in the night. And so, the moon, 13 days old, is there in conjunction with Emmanuel in Aries, the Ram constellation. He's retrograding right now until his final day appearance as Samson on 8 April 2024. It's in the Book of Mormon. The author of the rewritten 116 pages was extremely knowledgeable in the subject matter. Very clever in the way he wrote it. But I've done that video, and I'm not going to go over how it has to do with Russia. Putting Zedekiah on the throne. I thought it was Babylon, Travis. Just bang my head. They don't listen. They claim they listen. They don't listen. They don't know. They don't care. Why do I bother? And so, the symbol of Judah is Leo, the lion. Judah is a lion's whelp. Islam believes in the Bible because they twist it. Muhammad is the man like Moses. Jesus is now an Islamic spy who's going to be an assassin to murder the Christians. On the 25th, at the neck of Judah, which, interestingly, dualistic prophecy, remember? Phonetically the same as Utah. The Leonids are there. Falling stars. But wait, remember? I said multiple connected together for this. Segmented. At the star Akrab, which is Arabic, you know, what Islam speaks. And there's different dialects, but all Arabic. Akrab means crab, but it is symbolized as the tree of knowledge of good and evil. You know, where Eve is to blame for the fall. Women. What does the Book of Mormon say about that? Maybe we should consult section 29, verses 36 and 40. That's how I'm no longer a member of the church. Per se, I don't attend church. My bishop said, pull that video down, Travis. I didn't. It's still up. But I'm no longer going to church. I wonder what it says. Wonder what the Book of Mormon says on the subject matter. Wonder what the Doctrine and Covenants from Joseph Smith says on the matter, to reinforce it. Any women care to know? You're the ones being blamed. Maybe you should find out. And so, at the falling tree. We already have the falling stars at the neck of Judah, Utah. Now we have the sun, Emmanuel, at the falling tree. The sun is a symbol for government and king. It goes all the way back to the Egyptians with the two eyes of Horus, the Christ of the Egyptians, the origin of Emmanuel. His name is Sun Amun. He is Pharaoh, the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords. He is Melchizedek, king and high priest. And so if Genesis was literal history, Abraham would have given tribute, not tithing, to Pharaoh, because Pharaoh owned the land of Canaan, if it were literal history, and not a prophecy of the latter days. And so, there you have it. The government has been judged on the scales of Libra and is now being carried out, the penalty, having failed their judgment. Judah and Utah. Because, oh look, there's Oaks. He just replaced Nelson. Because Nelson fell. But wait, there's more. Oh, yeah, that's the Jupiter and the Moon in Aries. And so, further confirmation. And we've got more than 3. We've now established a fact. So, pay attention. The 25th, not the 24th, which is the day after, is the Jewish Sabbath. Which one's 7 and which one's Sabbath? It's the Babylonian Semitic holy day of superstition. Oh no, number 7 better not work on this day. We could die. We could get cursed. Yeah, the Jews got assimilated into Babylon with the Babylonian captivity and now denounced their Egyptian origins. Book of Mormon, 1 Nephi, chapter 1, verse 2. What did you think it meant? Pre-captivity Babylon. The Jews are Egyptian. So, there you have it. We're at 33 minutes. And we're about to be at 33 seconds. And then the pictures will put it over. Thus the enemy, from origin of the Illuminati.